What's up, Floater Gang? Welcome back to another episode. We're gonna do tank or crank with the West. Should they restart or should they make a move to become contenders? First team, OKC Thunder. We've got our two very own and not players, just fans. Deacon, what should the
We
Thunder
might
do?
as well be players.
So I don't. They definitely shouldn't tank. But I don't know if they necessarily crank at this point. I think they let this season play out. They don't make any big moves.
What about Frank?
I hate you. But I think they'd let this season play out. Obviously, we all know. I mean, they're surpassing everyone's expectations this year. They're the 2 seed. Their offense has been great. I think it's top 10 in the league. Their defense has been great. I think it's top 5.
Offense, they're around the number 5 in most offensive categories. Their offense is stellar. Their defense is awesome as well.
It's just rebounding.
Yeah. Valentin nailed it. It's the rebounding. The defense is great.
And actually assists too, surprised at all.
Rebounding, they are the last team, number 30 out of 30 in offensive rebounds, and they're bottom 4 in total rebounds. This is a big problem. Don't have a lot of big physical guys, particularly the lower you get on the list.
And
So Chet defensively has been awesome.
I called it.
What'd you call?
Chet Holmgren is not a center.
Okay, so
Play
Chet
power forward.
Holmgren this year defensively has been awesome on centers, on small forwards, on guards, you name
It's
it.
just his size for rebounding.
Yeah, his size right now is not ideal for rebounding, but he's also a rookie, so I think you give him time. But I do think a move you could make, and they will make, improving the backup center play, because right now it's pretty abysmal. Jalen Williams, he's not been taking charges at the same rate this year. His 3 ball's not going down.
He's got less minutes.
Yeah, I mean, but you want him to get the same amount of minutes as last year? I mean,
No, but I'm just saying, how are you supposed to get that many charges if you're not getting the play time?
well, he's not getting like his rate of charges still isn't the same. He's just not been good this year. Obviously he's young, so I'm not saying he's done for, but he's having the sophomore slump for sure. But yeah, I think getting another backup big, that you could occasionally play alongside Chet when you're playing those great rebounding teams, or when you're playing like the Jokic's or the Embiid's, well, in the Sixers game they played both Jay Will and Chet for a couple minutes, and those minutes were really good for the most part. So I think with a bigger sample size and with a better true 5, those minutes could be nice. But I still think you start Chet at center. You don't have to close with Chet at center. But yeah, I mean, Thunder are looking really good. Obviously they're young, so they're going to have nights like they did against Houston.
Fair enough.
So against the Golden State Warriors, OKC got out rebounded by 21 rebounds against the Warriors. That's an issue right there.
That's what we've been talking about.
Jonathan Kuminga 12 rebounds, Kevon Looney 12 rebounds.
Fun fact for you, actually, surprisingly, and maybe this is also just a large fact from last night, but as of last night after that game, the Warriors are number 1 in the league in rebounds per game. So give I mean, when I checked, they were number 1.
47.3. They're second with 47.3.
I'll have to double check. Either way, they're really good, and surprisingly, I didn't expect them to be this good. Even though I guess Kevon Looney, that's pretty much the only reason why he's on the court is to rebound the ball. So he's good at that.
The game before they played the Rockets, they got out rebounded by 23.
Yeah.
The Thunder suck at it, no question.
Sure.
This just shows to be fair, Chet Holmgren doesn't really have help on rebounding. The next guy is J-Dub, who's not
And
really
Marvin,
big
the Warriors are number 1.
and not supposed to rebound, but
Well, yeah. Well, so our tallest guy is Chet, and Chet is not a great rebounder for a 7-footer. I mean, he's skinny. I think he will put on more muscle, more weight as time goes on. But right now, he's just not a good rebounder, and I'm fine with it. It's just the problem is no one else is picking up any slack.
Mhm.
Giddey used to be a good rebounder. Kind of everything went down the drain that he did good this year. He is
he
still,
was focusing on other things, the other priorities,
you know,
younger priorities.
yeah, for sure. And he's still great. And the sideline out of bounds. He's really living up to his name, the Slob Wizard. Um,
Oh,
but
he
yeah,
is Club Wizard.
for sure. God. Yeah, but yeah, I think the rebounding is a big issue. I think it's going to hold them back from being contenders. I mean, I think they can win a playoff series, maybe.
They did out rebound the Mavs.
Wow.
3.
The Mavericks.
That and we almost sold that game too.
That's probably because Dwight Powell was hurt, guys. Come on, give the master credit. Anyway, Marvin, what do you think the Thunder should do?
Like Deacon said, our biggest priority is definitely center. We could even, I mean, he's hurt for the season. I don't think the Grizzlies would trade him, but we could really use a guy like Steven Adams back right now. He'd get boards, screen and roll, does everything we need. That literally is everything we need right now.
Clint Capella.
If we
Easy
get
fix,
guys
yes,
like
Valentine.
that,
Thank you. That's what I've written down. The Hawks need to get rid of one of the guys. Get Capella, who's still young enough, or Okongwu, where you have the draft capital. I don't know what the Hawks are going to do, but they probably should get some draft picks.
He's also a vet that I think would be perfect for the team. I think the team needs a good vet.
And money wise, you can trade Bertans. I mean, they want shooters, maybe the Hawks. I don't know if they want shooters, but they give them Bertans. You literally have the perfect assets for the Hawks. I don't know why this deal has not been done, honestly, from either side. I think both sides should be jumping on this deal. This makes no sense to me. I think this is an easy A plus for both. Get Okongwu or Capella. You don't have to play him 30 minutes every game. You can play him whenever you want to. Play Chet, wherever a center if you want to. If you got some bigger guys, you need some rebounding, put in your guy, either Capella or Kongu, whoever you get. It's a perfect fit. Like it's exactly what you need.
Yeah, so I'm completely with you. I think he would be a great fit. Like, bring him off the bench. We could play them together at times. We could play just one at a time. Because our defense, our paint defense dramatically drops off when Chet is out of the game. So I think adding
Clint would be a great
Capella.
defensive guy.
Yeah,
I legit think your Thunder team this season is literally like if they make this trade, they're looking at, hey, are we gonna make a finals run? Are we? I mean, they're pretty much looking at that right now, but they're taking a legit right. You get more physical. That's another thing I was gonna get at. The physicality and the just also even just like the play, like the strategizing, it all increases in the playoffs. Teams are gonna start picking you apart. They're gonna start going, you're weak down low. We're gonna out rebound you. Things are gonna get physical. You're gonna start missing more shots. You need to get rebounds. You have to get rebounds. You need to have guys that can compete against teams like the Nuggets with physical center. Get a guy like Congo Capella, and you have an extremely legit chance of making the final this year, and if not being a legit holding that Larry O'Brien trophy by next year. So make that move now. I don't want to hear no waiting. You have all the draft picks. They're not going anywhere. You have so many. Lose one or two of them. Make that move now.
quite how old was the guy we need?
Like your guys, they don't need the season. The team shows how good they are right now. They're ready to make. They want to go to the finals this year.
I mean, I hear you. I just don't think Sam Presti's going to pull the trigger this year. I mean,
He might not, but I'm telling you, he should.
This is the year they should do it. I don't think
Historically, he's one of the greatest GMs, but he doesn't have a championship under his resume. And I think you got to pull the trigger to get a championship and to really prove how you're not scared of making that last final piece. He does such a great job of building the team everywhere it needs to go, and he just can't finish that last piece. And this is your chance right now.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be mad at the move, but if he doesn't make the move, for a Capella, I mean, all of our guys are still so young, and I think he still wants to see how this roster. I mean, adding
Gets
Capella,
rebounds.
Your problems don't get solved by waiting. I mean, the best case scenario, you draft some kind of big like a Capella Kongu if they're in the draft, and even then they're still young too. Then you have to wait more. Capella and Kongu are ready now, and the rest of the roster is ready now. And if not, right, most teams like if you get like a big piece, maybe one big piece like Okongwu Capella, you can win that season. But most times, kind of bringing up a whole group of guys together, you need that kind of one season to get used to each other, and the next season they can actually win a championship. Get them this season. This season you're become contenders for sure, and next season you have a very legit chance of literally holding that trophy. Go for it now. No more waiting. You have if it goes wrong and you have draft picks, you don't lose anything really.
Yeah.
Like what's the loss?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we made the move, I wouldn't be mad. but we're still super young. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sam just says let's just wait another year. And I disagree. Like I think problems do get fixed not by waiting, but by development.
Who you're not going to
That's
develop
crazy.
Chet. The odds of Chet looking like Giannis after this offseason are very low. As far
Well,
as
I
like
don't think he
physicality
needs to look
wise.
like him. I think he just needs to add a little bit more strength, and obviously everyone else around him. I mean, they've always been bad at rebounding, and then you add in Chet, and he's also not great at rebounding. Chet isn't necessarily like holding the team back on rebounding.
No, he's
Um,
not. Just get another guy.
Bottom
Get a guy
line,
to do that, and you're gonna get more physical in the playoff. Just get ready now. Just go and just go. Like
I
go
know, but
compete.
Chet
Get ready.
no, here's the bottom
You're
line.
get out of the mindset that you're in the development stage, that you're in the
you
rebuild.
still
You're
are
not.
though.
Go compete. You're not.
Chet is a
And
rookie right
the
now.
last time they did this was when they had Russell Westbrook Harden. These guys get older. They're gonna want money. You gotta start paying everybody. Next thing you know, you got like James Harden again off the bench. You got them leaving. You got guys going out, and all of a sudden your window closes. Go make the move. You're ready. They're all ready. Who are they waiting for? Chet, yes, it's his first year, but he's playing great. Like, I mean, you said that very well. He might do better at scoring next season, right? He might do better at blocking. He'll probably do a little bit better at rebounding, but no, I'm not expecting him to make a very consecrated effort at becoming a better rebounder. I would be surprised if he becomes this rebounder that takes him to the next level. Okongwu are the perfect fit for what they need.
The bottom line
Physicality
is
wise,
the bottom line is even if Chet Holmgren does become a better rebounder, which hopefully he will, you're 26 rebounding right now. If you want to be a contending team, you have to be probably at least top 10 rebounding. And development might bring our rebounds up, but we're not going to be a top 10 rebounding team based
and
off just
even like
development.
your point
So
of
in
depth,
terms of
even
trading, let's trade Giddy and some picks for a big man who can get rebounds.
I don't think you
trade
should
whoever. You have so many assets.
Bertans.
Trade Giddy Bertans and like a pick, and you can get a very solid rebounding big.
What's with you and Giddy?
I mean, like I'm really passionate about this. And right now, like
Blame
I'm
me.
not that big of a Thunder fan at this very moment. But if they were like my favorite team, like y'all, bro, I would be so damn. I would be. I mean, I'm fired up right now because I think it's just such a give me. I'll be like, dude, come on, bro. Like I want to get this chip. Like within the next, like it's there, it's there. Go get it. Go get the chip, man. It's up there for grabs.
I mean,
You're not fighting for the play-in anymore. Your team is legit. Last season you were fighting for the play-in. That's fine. Wait that last season. This season's a new season. Right now you're number 3 in the West. You look really good. You're number 5 in almost every offensive category. You're top 10. You're one of the top 10 defensive teams. You're doing everything amazing, but you so horrible at defense. You're lacking depth at center. You can't rebound. Go get a guy. And the playoffs are going to be more physical. You're going to need to have more pieces so you can strategize with physicality, with guys being down low, with missing more shots to get those rebounds. Go get a guy. Go get him.
Yeah. Yeah. I like so getting Capella this year. I wouldn't be mad. Like I said previously, just the only way for Chet to learn how to be more physical is to get bodied in the playoffs. Like just getting Capella is not going to solve the problem. Like, oh, if Chet's getting bodied, just put in Capella. That's not going to make Chet any better.
But Capella can teach him in practice.
It's just not. It's not Chet's point. Like we talk about Trae Young, he's not a good defender. Chet is not going to do everything.
Faster.
Chet isn't going to do everything. That's what I'm saying. I'm not betting on him to ever become an amazing physical rebounder. I'm just not. I'm not expecting it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it takes anything away from his game. Would he be better? Sure, but you can't be good at everything like LeBron James. You just can't, right? Like you have almost every superstar, even the best of the best, they just don't do everything. And I think Chet not being one of the top 10 rebounders in the league is not a problem. Get a guy get a guy.
I feel like we're making a
I'm
lot
not.
of assumptions about Chet's career off the first 20 games of his rookie season, and he's not a great rebounder yet.
Yeah,
Like I think he could definitely be a great
I'm not
rebounder.
expecting it, and if you're betting on that,
Who's the
that's
next team?
fine.
We're literally
I'm
not.
not. Yeah, I'm not expecting him to become top 10 rebounder. I also wouldn't wait for him to see if he does. I would just get another guy. But I mean, I think we're repeating. Um, let's move on to the Golden State Warriors. Warriors, obviously 4-time champs. They still have that big three that has won them those 4 championships. They also have some other pieces that have been around. Kevon Looney, Gary Payton was at least around for the last one. But they're looking really funky right now. Picked up Chris Paul, the point guard, obviously one of the best. I mean, he pretty much does everything but rebounding, like we just talked about. And yet the Warriors right now are Yeah, so we talked about on the last episode for the East ones, Klay Thompson is their second highest scorer at only 15 points per game. That's a problem. It's not really the Splash Bros anymore. It's almost like I don't know, Splash Daddy and the Moist Sun. I don't know. Klay Thompson.
Oh, what? Did he say the moist sun?
God,
The moist sun.
what does that mean?
What?
Yeah, you know Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson would say that too. Like you know that like, they would say something like that too. They would have no issues.
It's not a bad comparison. Yeah.
I mean, they're bottom 5 in field goal percentages in the league. Bottom 5.
I mean, yeah. So no doubt they need a secondary guy, in terms of scoring. I mean, is that like Zach LaVine? Is that? Let's see. I mean, and I don't know. They have a lot of problems. They turn the ball over a ton, which they've always done,
Yeah.
but now it's
They've
just
always
like
done.
it's just like a crappy.
It's
They're just
exposed
not as
more
good at
because of
offense as they used to be. They're 11th in points per game on offense, and they were last in paint points per game. So they used to like just be as high. They used to be this modern like we're shoot threes a lot, and I think they still got decent point games.
Draymond in the clutch is just horrible with turnovers. That man throws it out of bounds every time.
I mean, he bailed out OKC in their last game like 4 times, and just in the. I mean, he slapped Shat on that 3. He almost ruined 2 Steph Curry game winners against OKC alone this year. Anyway,
I mean, given that, Draymond Green, he has and to his credit, right? He has ego about him, like, hey, I have to do the dirty work. There's like sometimes I turn it over, sometimes I foul, all this stuff, but that's like a part of who I am. That's part of what makes this team good. And that's all fair because it worked for a long time, but we didn't see. I mean, we saw some of these issues, but not all of these issues consistently beforehand, and they weren't as much of a liability to the team that was good on offense. And even Klay Thompson, same thing, right? We just talked about him. That is it time to split up the big three of the dynasty? Is it time? Klay Thompson is about to become, I think, a free agent this summer. There's lots of rumors that he will not re-sign in Golden State anyway.
Yeah, I think with that, I mean, unless there's inside talks that nobody knows about and him resigning, you might as well try to trade him. Wiggins has been god awful. Trade him. And then with that, I mean, you have Chris Paul, Draymond, and Steph Curry, who are all older guys. But besides that, I mean, you already have a really young team, especially if you can get rid of Wiggins and Clay. And then you just kind of start rebuilding with a little bit of veteranship and teaching them that. And I think that's probably the best route for them to go right now is keep playing those young guys those minutes, have them run those minutes. And if you lose Clay and Wiggins, they get more minutes, they get more experience. You still have Chris Paul, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry, who are all great NBA players, to teach them how to do what they did. And I mean, obviously, who knows what happens, but I think that's the best way for them to go, honestly.
Oddly enough, go ahead.
I don't necessarily agree. I mean, it's just like it's hard to tell Steph Curry these next couple of years we're gonna be rebuilding. You're gonna be the mentor. Like, Steph Curry is still Steph Curry. You got to maximize his prime.
Well, I don't think that's what you do. I mean, you're still going to play Steph how you play, but just in the sense that you have only so many older guys with all the young guys getting minutes, it's gonna just naturally kind of happen.
Well, I think they should make some. I mean, I think they should make a big swing for a big time All Star. Give up
I agree.
and Moody and Bajemski if you have to. Like, you got to maximize Steph's prime. Steph is a top 10 player of all time. And he's playing like it. I mean, he's playing amazingly this year, and the rest of the team sucks, and you can't wait for Kuminga and Pajemski and Moody to finally develop.
Well, I mean, I think Kuminga, I can agree with that just because, I mean, we've seen the past few years, he still has a lot of struggles. Pajemski, though, I kind of disagree with. He's already been a very high impact player, I think.
And he fits your system well.
He does. Well, yeah, he does. But if you got to trade him to get, your computers raping my eyes. But in order to get to that contender level, you have to trade Pajemski. I think you got to do it.
But the question is, do the Warriors, with the players they have right now, do they care more about making that swing and potentially losing one of their next star players for that potential win now? Or do you think they'd rather keep him and keep that potential with the other young guys that they have and grow that?
Well, I think Steph Curry would rather go all
I
in.
think they're win now. I think based off their moves, based off what their roster still looks like, they're not good enough to try to rebuild. They're win now. I agree more with Deacon. I agree with Marvin that you should trade the big guys. The problem is too, if you look at the last 10 years and kind of that even emotional attachment, even just kind of justifying, it's really hard to say and reasonably think, especially at a reasonable trade value at this point, being like from a fan and of that side, which I'm not at all, and from within the organization, like, hey, we're gonna trade. Like, let's go out there. Let's go look for to trade Clay. Let's go look to trade Dre, and then also Wiggins, but that's not as hard, obviously. And then also the money, like the contracts, right? Clay Thompson is making what $43 million, dude. 43 million, bro. If he could give me just like 2% of that, I'd be so happy. But anyway, Andrew Wiggins, 24 million. Draymond Green, 22 million. Like that's another part. And they don't have a lot of assets to give along with those guys, like trade picks. So it's really tough the position they're in. And they I don't know. It's tough. Okay. They want to get an all-star. I don't know what team wants these guys right now that they can get valuable return for. I talked about earlier, trying to get maybe Buddy Heald and Nemhard, and maybe they can. I don't know if Clay Thompson might be interesting. Wiggins might be interesting to the Pacers. It's just a lot of money. They might be willing to take that on with the right type of trade deal, and that could help them defensively, the Pacers, and they could help their offensive struggles from just having a couple of young guys that can make plays, shoot the ball. Um, I mean, Buddy He'll be great, and pair that with Steph Curry, Chris Paul, and that might be good. But the Warriors have a lot of issues besides that too. To my absolute shock, they are the only thing they're really good at is rebounding. They're the number one team in rebounding, or Marvin number two, whatever. I don't know what stats you're looking at. I don't know if that's per game, whatever. Either way, they're amazing at rebounding. Pretty much everything else they kind of suck at. So it's weird, and they do have still like a lot of star power on their team. But I think it's time. I mean, they're getting older. Time to maybe exchange it if they can.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Warriors?
No.
Alrighty, well, let's move over down to the south and New Orleans. Pelicans just took an utter loss by what, Marvin? 43 points to the Lakers.
44.
I was expecting this to be kind of a physical, driving defensive game. It was not. It was not the Pelicans. I just said on the last episode, the Pelicans would be scary to play. It was just one game. Blowouts do happen occasionally, but I was not expecting this. And this just like if they lost by 20, that's bad. But like it's one game, happens in playoffs sometimes. But 43 is kind of next level. CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram both had single digit scoring games. Zion had just 13, even though on 75% field goals. What should the Pelicans do? Should they I mean, I'm assuming they're not going to blow it up this season. Should they make any big moves? Should they try to exchange something and then even potentially moving forward? What's the Pelicans move? Tank it or crank it?
I mean, this is easier said than done, but they need to figure out within themselves how hard Zion especially is like what he's gonna do. They're not happy with his diet and he doesn't seem to be wanting to change it and his exercise patterns. That's not a good start for your star player. He obviously had a bad game just like the rest of his team against Lakers. So I mean I think biggest thing for them is figure out Zion. Do you want to keep him or are you done with him? You're too annoyed with him and you try to get a lot of value in return for him. Because talent wise, we talked about this last time. They have so much talent. They have all the potential in the world with shooting, defense, rebounding to be contenders. But if you have Zion, who doesn't really have that great work ethic, and then you have Ingram, who's been pretty good but kind of inconsistent. And I think right now Zion just has a lot to do with the whole way they're shaping out.
100%.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Tank it or crank it? I think I'm gonna prank it actually. I think they're pranking us, guys. They've got to be pranking us. Zion's not taking it serious. That's got to be a prank. Like we've seen him in college, we've seen him in high school. He was very serious about his game. He just doesn't. He just seems like he doesn't care as much anymore. He's not. His work ethic isn't very high. Brandon Ingram scored under 10 points. CJ McCollum scored under 10
Everyone
points.
had a bad game.
Yeah.
Guys, the NBA is turning into the NFL. I think they're trying to script their games. They're trying to prank us here.
It's always been scripted.
That's my.
I like Valentine's take. But Zion, anyway, I agree actually with both Marvin and Valentine. Zion is really weird. Not competitive. I wonder if the fame was kind of getting to him, even though I feel like he's always had fame. I don't know if the money and fame is getting to him. I don't know what it is. We saw that scandal kind of thing going on in the offseason. Kind of like right before like the season started, I was like all in, like yo, keep Zion, like the Pelicans gonna be
I just
amazing.
think
But like,
he's
4 months ago, I was like trade Zion, get assets, like trade Zion. You have such a great team, trade him, and that could definitely be interesting.
Well, so I think you play this season out. I mean, a lot of guys on the teams are playing great. Jonas Valanciunas is having a great year. In terms of just like his impact.
Herb Jones has been.
Herb Jones has been good. Trey Murphy just got back. CJ just got back. Yeah, I think I don't think there's any reason. I mean, there's reason to panic, but I don't think it's sufficient enough to tank it or whatever.
In
But
the
yeah.
limelight of the past few seasons too. It's just been a rough stretch for a Pelicans team that could be so good.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's just the injuries, and then after the injuries, it's just
Lack of discipline.
lack of discipline. Yeah, um, I think you play the season out. I think you give this roster another chance. If this repeats another, I mean, if this goes on for the rest of the year, then I think you got some decisions to make the offseason. But for now, I say, let's see how the season goes. I mean, like just a couple. Like what Valentine said just a couple days ago, Lauren was saying I think the Pelicans would be super dangerous, and I still think that's true. You know,
I think what really has to happen is the Pelicans got to tell Zion, give it your all every game, and if he still doesn't want to or whatever, I think that's when you start potentially looking at / telling him, hey, you might be up for a trade if you're not gonna do what we want you / need you / know you can do. And then you potentially could even get a trade deadline trade or something if he doesn't do what they need him to do.
I mean, we gotta be careful with those New Orleans voodoo demons or whatever down there. I don't know if that's affecting the team. I think it was hitting Valentine a second ago. He was just mapped to death by a demon tripping. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, they're dangerous. Wait it out for now. I mean, yeah, they look amazing. Then I mean, they had some guys coming back from injuries, and it was just great
It's a
game. One of the
prank.
ugliest I've seen.
Guys,
Probably a prank. I hope it's a prank. I hope it's a prank or some voodoo or something like that. I'm sure they can figure it out.
Probably some voodoo stuff, especially with their new jersey that they have for the City Edition jerseys. I don't know what they're doing in New Orleans.
Yeah. Alrighty, that was our tank or crank for the West. Drop a comment,
crank.
subscribe. Floater gang out.